Hello YouTube, this is Wisps and Whimsy and you are watching Starting Out Solitary. Our topic this week has us taking a walk through the pages of history. So our topic this week is about any historical point that either we have a connection with, or that we are interested in, or that we just have something to say about. So that kind of leaves it pretty wide open. So the first thing that occurs to me, and I'm sure it's one that occurs to a lot of people, so forgive me for bringing it up again, but one of the historical points that I know resonates with a lot of people just because it's something that happened here in America. So for us Americans, this is kind of the thing. Of course, you probably can guess that I'm talking about the Salem witch trials. And I find it fascinating. One of the reasons that it comes to mind so quickly is because Ember Honeyraven, in her Witchiversity, which is a group that she started on Facebook, it's kind of a crowdsourcing of information on different pagan topics. She posts a topic of the week, and then everybody is invited to post any kind of source material or thoughts that they have, and she invites discussion on different topics. And it's kind of a way for us to just bring all of our knowledge together and kind of come to a new understanding of different things within paganism. And of course she did start her Witchiversity with the Salem witch trials, because that's just something that seems to capture everybody's interest. The thing that came to my mind, of course, was this book I had been reading earlier this year. It's called A Storm of Witchcraft by Emerson Baker. And in it, he talks about something that I feel like isn't really touched on as much as it could be, which is how much witchcraft or witchcraft-like practices, magical practices, were being used within the colonies at the time of the Salem witch trials. He points out that people were using protective magic on their buildings and on their persons to try to ward off Native American attacks, to protect from disease, and to protect against the elements. And he also points out that there was a lot of divination magic going on, people trying to determine who their future spouse would be, or if they would have children, how many, if the crops would do well the next year. So it's really funny that although we think of it now, or at least popularly, it's thought of as a witch hunt, if you look at what a lot of scholars say about it, it was really more about control within the community, and people were trying to take advantage of women who were not as well protected by family ties, widows or unmarried women. And so really it wasn't as much about witchcraft at all. That was kind of just a means to an end for a lot of these people. So it's interesting that Salem has this tourism industry now that's built around the witch trials, and you have people like Laurie Cabot who live there and are the witches of Salem or whatever. And yet at the same time, everybody was practicing magic back then, and there really don't appear to have been witches that we're aware of as witches, as we think about it today. So it's interesting. I always think it's fun to hear what people have to say about it, new things that people bring up, and of course shows like Salem that just kind of take an entertainment aspect to it. So, but of course I had to have something to say about that, because really, how do you pass that up? That's just, we always talk about that, even though it wasn't important historically speaking, it was just a blip on the radar, but still, just fascinating point of interest for us. Now, as far as any historical points that I feel any particular connection with or interest in, I'm always interested in Celtic pagan practices, especially pre-Christian practices, because I feel like, there's a lot more syncretism after Christianity moves in, or after the Romans moved in. So pre-Roman and pre-Christian Celtic paganism is really of interest to me. And so if I can find articles or, shows, documentaries about it, I'm always interested in those. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are there particular points in history as relate to paganism and witchcraft that just catch your interest, capture your imagination? Or are there particular points in history that you kind of wish you could live back then and would like to be a witch in that time? So if you have any thoughts or comments or any information that you would like to add, I would love to hear what you have to say. So please comment below, comment on our Facebook page, and I guess that's about it. This is Wisps and Whimsy. It's getting a little chilly out here in the forest, and I am wishing you many blessings.